Hi, Taurus Sun and Rising. Welcome to your June 2025 Astro Update. It's Raina here. Alrighty then. So, as the month begins, the Sun and Jupiter are both in the second house of earned income. So, that is really great for money. And this is the house that you rule in astrology. So, you have an affinity with that particular area. And it's still going on into June. But, one of the big news of June 2025 is that Venus goes into your sign. And you're ruled by Venus, so that gives it that extra importance. And this is happening on June 6th. And Venus in this house can give you that certain charm. It's interesting. Venus is the attractor. And when we say somebody is attractive, we're basically talking about their looks. But it's more than that. It's not just that somebody is beautiful or handsome. It's that it's like being magnetic. I think I've heard Venus being called magnetic. And that can magnetize good things to you. This in the first house, it just in general, you may be even thinking about doing something to beautify yourself in some way. It's so funny because I was thinking about, like, I wanted to cut my hair. I have Taurus rising, and so I'm ruled by Venus, and I was thinking about June as the time when I'm going to do that. I don't know if that will actually be when I do it, but I find it very interesting that I was thinking about June without even knowing that this transit existed. So that can be very good if you're looking for work, if you're looking for love, that you magnetize yourself to someone of importance that you are trying to bring into your orbit, if you will. On the 8th, Mercury goes into Cancer, and this is the third house. And this forms a sextile to you, which is a friendly angle. Actually, the very next day, Jupiter goes here as well. And the third house is the house that Mercury rules in astrology, and it deals with matters connected with writing and other forms of communication. Actually, social media has been assigned to the third house, but also teaching, learning something, like if you're getting some kind of certification or whatnot. And because Jupiter is going here, if you are a writer, Taurus, this could be a very prolific year for you, the next 12 months. And it can also be very lucky for you. You could get some lucky breaks with your writing or anything with social media. And June is a great month to launch things. So if you have writing projects, or if you've been wanting to start a YouTube channel or Rumble channel, it doesn't have to be YouTube, but anything, this would be a great month to do so, especially with Jupiter in this sector. And with Mercury here, you might be speaking to your brothers and sisters more. Third house can be that. On the 11th, we have a full moon at 20 degrees of Sagittarius, and this is falling in your 8th house. The 8th house is actually a money house, just like your house. The second house is a money house because the 8th house is ruled by Scorpio, your opposite sign, and deals with shared resources. So this could be something to do with inheritance, with any kind of, I think one of the big ones could be like some kind of dividends with some kind of stocks. because there's, in astrology, it's so funny because sometimes multiple houses can be attributed to a certain thing. Like the fifth house can be the house of speculation, and it can involve like gambling, and you could say, you know, stock investments are gambling too, so glorified gambling. So that could be the fifth house, but the eighth house I feel like definitely could be, because you're dealing with other money that is, what is it called, shared resources. When you're investing, it's not just about you, it's about other people as well. It's a big pot. So there might be something with that. If you have stocks, the full moon can bring things to fruition, to that kind of abundance, that kind of the apex, the height of something. Um, and it's also it also can be like if you're getting divorced and you're splitting up everything. Um, Maybe your partner is experiencing some sort of increase in their revenue for some reason. That could be happening. Yeah, so the other area that this covers is secrets. This is Scorpio's domain. So Scorpio's a very secretive sign, and the full moon can bring out secrets. And it can be quite scandalous, to be honest with you, because the eighth house is very kind of, I'll tell you, the word that came into my mind is kinky, but I'm just, I have like I crack myself up. Some of the things that come into my mind are, I often think like I must have like this spirit guide that has a great sense of humor or something. But anyway, it can be something, that has a secret coming out, but also it can be a revelation, and this can be a personal revelation. The eighth house is the house of the shadow, and so something may come out that is related to yourself, that you've been suppressing, that is coming to the light of day. And it's like or a spiritual download that makes you connect the dots about something in your nature that you may have been trying to repress in some way, and maybe now you're fully admitting it, and that is going to have a healing effect on you. On the 17th, Mars goes into Virgo, and Virgo is the fifth house for Taurus, and this is a house of creativity. So you could be really on fire with your creativity, and Mars is a sense of, urgency. Okay, so I was already talking about Jupiter in the third house. The people who are writers, who are content creators, like, making videos, I think June, especially starting in mid-June onward, this could be a very prolific and energetic time for you in your creative pursuits. The fifth house is also a house of love, but it's a house of recreational sex. And Taurus, hello, you're very earthy, to say the least. And so this could, I would say, like a fling. This would be more, maybe it could turn into something more permanent, but Mars is very like sudden and, well, what's the word? Very rash, doing things like yeah, I guess you could say suddenly, without much thought, and you could just be jumping into some kind of like hot and heavy, passionate thing. And Mars is the libido, so it could be something, and maybe it's also connected to love. You did have a lunar eclipse here back in March. You will have a solar eclipse here in September, but that isn't in play yet. So maybe there's somebody that you have already been pining over that you finally get the chance to um, be with. But the fifth house can be the dating scene, so maybe you're just actively dating. Could be that. And fifth house is any kind of pleasurable pursuit. So even sports, maybe you're competing. Mars is very competitive in some kind of sports in June. On the 20th, the sun goes into Cancer, and this is again that third house. So really getting into your intellectual side of things. And 5 days later, we have a new moon here, 4 degrees of Cancer. So new developments with your writing and communication, your teaching, and your learning. If you're a teacher, this could be a great time for you. With Jupiter here, also with Mars in the fifth house. The fifth house is also children. So that could be a lot of activity with children, and maybe you're getting a new teaching assignment. On the 26th, the next day, Mercury goes into Leo. Leo is the fourth house for you, the fourth house of home and family, the house of the mother. Some people say the father. You could be getting in touch with one of your parents, communicating with them, a lot, maybe more than normal. You could be, the fourth house can be real estate matters. So you might actually be signing some kind of contract for a house or in negotiations, whatever, that kind of thing. Researching, thinking about what you want, housing wise. So that's what I have for you, Taurus. I hope that this resonates. If you would like a private reading, this is actually a great time for Taurians because this is the time when you're, let's see, what date are we? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, we are in Taurus season, right? We're not in Gemini season yet. But even if we were, it's your birthday or the sun crossing over into your first house in your natal chart. If you're rising Taurus, would have occurred. So it's a great time to get a transit reading because this is just a general forecast to know exactly where everything is falling in your chart and other things that I'm not covering here. That could be, some of the outer planets and things like that. But also, I have like a package deal that also includes a natal chart interpretation if you've never had one of those, because I think those are even more important than transit readings. Transits come and go. And, even if you really are interested in what's happening in a particular time frame, which is a lot of fun, just finding out all those things. It's like, how do you really capitalize on it if you still have a lot of patterns that are self-defeating, where you tend, because good things can come to people. A person can win the lottery and be broke a year later because they still have those negative traits of like self-destructive behavior. It could be addiction, it could be anything. And just because you're receiving good things, just because love comes into your life, doesn't mean you're going to keep it if you are terrified of getting close to someone. If you don't trust people, you're going to probably push them away in one way or the other. So it's very important to know thyself, okay? And the chart can help with that. It can't do everything because we have to, the chart isn't the end all be all either, and nothing is. We have our own intuition. So these are all tools in our toolbox. So I have a package deal that is called my deep dive reading, which is an hour, at least an hour of natal chart interpretation and an hour of transits for a special price. If you like the tarot, I have all three of those, and that's called the whole enchilada. And I have, love readings, career readings. You can find out more information about my readings at the link below. Thank you for listening. Bye.